Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. I am your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about Rich Swann. Rich Swann, boy, man, he's a screw up, isn't he? Apparently, he is suspended from TNA for he was drunk in public and making a scene, which apparently is the second time he's done this since he's been under contract. So we got to go back to August because he just got found guilty. Which, who knows what's going to happen to his career at this point. Now, as a little catch-up, the reason why I'm talking about Rich Swann is this is a guy who kind of barbecued his career back in 2017. He was on WWE's in the Cruiserweight division. He gets into a domestic issue with his wife, gets fired. He got fired a couple of weeks afterwards. Went to TNA, became TNA World Champion. It was all about redemption. And then 2022... he starts getting in trouble again. Of course, it was not reported in 2022, but it is in an article in Pro Wrestling when they were discussing his 2024 arrest. So he was arrested in September of 2022 for disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance. Okay. He says, an incident not previously reported in the media when he was arrested for allegedly causing a disturbance while intoxicated at the apartment complex where he lives. The court ordered him to pay $351.59 related to that charge, so less than $400. But this most recent offense has a little bit more detail attached to it. So let's go into this thing because it's actually quite scary. And that's the reason why I'm doing this video. It says, Rich Swann was arrested on June the 8th. This is from Post Wrestling. In Altamonte Springs, Florida, and charged with disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance, a misdemeanor offense. It says Swann is entering a substance abuse rehab program. Post Wrestling was told by TNA on Wednesday. This was in late August, so this came out August 21st. According to a public arrest report filed with Seminole County and obtained this week by Post Wrestling, an individual who was later identified as Swann was initially described as a black male wearing a black shirt and blue shorts, attempting to forcefully enter an apartment door at approximately 9:50 p.m. The person who filed the report is I'm not going to use their name because they're technically a victim, but he says, I was getting into the shower when I heard a loud banging coming from my door. When my son started yelling for me to come to the door, I came out of the bathroom and heard the loud banging, so I went to my room and grabbed my handgun. I announced that I had a gun and for whoever was banging on my door to leave. Swann started yelling, "This is my house." The apartment resident opened the door and showed his gun. Swann was said to have reacted by backing up and leaving the property. The resident of the apartment then contacted authorities to report the incident. When police arrived at the scene, they were told by the resident that Swann had run away towards the nearby woods. Swann possibly mistook the apartment for his own home. The address of the apartment Swann was allegedly trying to kick in is a short walk from his own address. The resident said he did not want to press charges on Swann, despite the fact that Swann had damaged his door. This is dangerous. All right. There's been a lot of people who have been shot doing stuff like this. There was, very recently some stories of like random black people going to white folks' houses and banging on the door. Either because they were drunk or because I think in one situation here in Detroit, the girl's car had broken down or something like that, and she wanted to use the phone or something or other, and the guy shot through the door and killed her. This situation is very, very dangerous. He is an extremely lucky guy. He's extremely lucky this resident not only didn't want to press charges, but also this guy wasn't trigger happy. Because if he'd opened the door and started shooting, we'd be sitting here having a very different conversation. It says police subsequently received another call, this time from a woman located in the same neighborhood. The woman told him in the police officer's report in a sworn statement that she had gone to her son's apartment to pick up Amazon packages when she encountered Swann. She says, quote, I heard a male trying to talk to me. Swann started following me and I told him to stop. Swann, according to the report, responded, what do you mean stop following you? And the woman says, so I started running as he followed me up to my door, but I managed to get inside and lock it before he could get in. Bro, what is wrong with this dude? What is going on here? Officers located Swann near the area and took him into custody. They then escorted him back to the first apartment where he allegedly tried to kick in the door. Police used FaceTime to contact the resident of the apartment who confirmed that Swann was the person who tried to force his way through the door. Amazing, these police officers. They're using FaceTime to lock you up now. They jamming you up using FaceTime now. The police report describes Swann as incoherent and appearing to be intoxicated. The report says he smelled of alcohol and that his eyes were glassy and his speech was slurred. The report wrote, I asked if Richard had any drinks containing alcohol. He stated he did. When I asked how many, he said a lot. I asked Richard when did he start to drink, and he told me around 1900 hours, which was about 3 hours earlier. Swann's actions while intoxicated caused multiple disturbances, and his behavior caused several residents concern for safety, the officer wrote. The arrest report states that Swann was then driven to the John E. Polk Correction Facility in Sanford, Florida, about 10 miles from where he was arrested. They took him 10 miles away. Geez, they didn't put him in the drunk tank. They took him to jail. Swann was then released the following day on a $250 bond, according to court records. He submitted an affidavit of indigency, which is an application a defendant can use to claim they cannot afford an attorney and should be appointed a public offender. This guy has been on television since 2017. How is he broke? I know he just had a baby. You know, his wife had a baby. I don't know if that was a year or two ago. It was pretty recent, but it wasn't like this year. He shouldn't be indigenous, but he works for TNA, so who knows? Swann's application was denied. So he tried to say he didn't have any money. The court disagreed. You have money. He was charged $50. On the application, Swann appears to have indicated that he's homeless, although other records indicate that he has a home address. So this dude he signed an affidavit stating that he was indigent and that he's homeless. What on earth is happening here? What on earth is happening here? This is insane. This is insane. It says Swann was not present for the pre-trial, but his defense attorney attended on his behalf. I'm not going to say the name of his lawyer because it doesn't matter. The court set a police status hearing date for September the 4th. Swann must appear at that hearing or risk forfeiture of his $250 bond. Court records indicate that several deputies and police officers have been subpoenaed to testify in Swann's case on September the 9th. Additionally, the state's attorney's office informed Swann's attorney that police body camera and car camera footage related to the incident will be included in the discovery, with these materials now available for review. This is sad. This is incredibly sad. It says TNA first became aware of these incidents when we reached out for comment on this report. The company commented on Wednesday saying it's taking immediate steps to address the situation internally and that Swann has voluntarily entered a substance abuse rehabilitation program. So he was arrested in June. All right. He was arrested in June, but they didn't know about it. TNA didn't until Post Wrestling reached out to them. So we don't know when that was. We would imagine it was at some point in August before they wrote this story. So that means he was in legal trouble, already had a court date, all that stuff set up. and the company didn't even know. TNA Wrestling takes any and all charges against its performers seriously, TNA told Post Wrestling in a statement. Rich Swann is responsible for his own actions. He has informed TNA Wrestling that he is voluntarily entering into a substance abuse rehabilitation program. TNA Wrestling has suspended Rich pending the completion of its investigation into the incidents. Wow. It continues. The article continues. Swann is also pulling out of future independent bookings. So, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, this was August 21st. Now, it comes out later on September the 5th. This is from Mike Johnson on PW Insider. Former TNA champion Rich Swann appeared yesterday in court, pleading no contest to charges of disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance, a misdemeanor offense stemming from an incident last June. It says, in a nolo contendere plea, as it is termed in Florida, a defendant neither admits nor denies a charge. It is an alternative to pleading guilty or not guilty. After Swann entered the plea, the court found him guilty, fined him $203, and ordered him to serve 6 months on probation. Swann was also fined an additional $285.38 in related fees. Once he pays those fees and completes the probation, the case is closed. So, wow. It says, it should be noted that on his Facebook page, Swann has posted numerous times in recent months that he has been alcohol-free, which would line up right after the arrest. He recently showcased his 60-day sobriety coin on social media. It says TNA had announced Swann was suspended when they learned of his arrest. So, he was replaced as Top Dollar's lackey with a much better performer by the name of Casey Navarro. Casey Navarro is a much better performer than Rich Swann. He has more personality, and he's better. So, big ups to Rich Swann. Hopefully things change for him. But this is an incredible story. You know, banging on people's doors, scaring them in the middle. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's banging on the doors. He's scaring the kids. You know, the guy grabs a gun because he doesn't know if he's trying to break into his house or not. You know, he's scaring women in the street. He could have easily have gotten shot there too. If the woman had a pistol, she would have shot him. You know, this kind of stuff, man, is scary. And you realize the kind of situations people put themselves in. This is not good. Hopefully Rich Swann will tighten up, you know, get sober, straighten his life out. He's only 33. He's only 33. He's a young man. And so hopefully he's got plenty of time to tighten up. But this was not good. But it was an interesting story. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
No one does it better.